All right, it's official. I told you at the beginning of the year, 2018 will be and is now becoming the year of the boomerang. And our top story tonight, after months of ringing the alarm about the abuse of power within the FISA court system, well, the DOJ Inspector General has finally now announced plans to investigate alleged foreign intelligence surveillance abuses. We've been calling for this, of course, by the DOJ and the FBI. Now, we have been exposing how the unverified Clinton bought and paid for dossier filled with Russia and Russian government lies and propaganda and misinformation was used as evidence to extend a FISA warrant on a Trump campaign associate, Carter Page. We also showed you how circular reporting from Michael Isikoff and Yahoo News citing the phony dossier was intentionally used by the FBI as an attempt to strengthen their FISA abuse case against Page. Now, we have unearthed shocking conflicts of interest and extreme anti-Trump bias, sadly at the highest levels of the FBI and the DOJ, but we are finally one step closer to getting to the bottom line truth in what is the biggest abuse of power scandal in this history of this country. And of course, we deserve to know the truth, and we are revealing the real and ever-present danger to have the powerful tools of intelligence in the deep state used against the American people. Now, I know this is slow. I know this is frustrating, but we are now finally making serious progress. And according to the DOJ Inspector General's statement, it says in part, quote, as part of this examination, the OIG also will review information that was known to the DOJ and the FBI at the time the applications were filed from or about an alleged FBI confidential source. This is interesting. Additionally, the OIG will review the DOJ and FBI's relationship and communications with the alleged source as they relate to the FISA court applications. In order for this investigation now to be successful, it must answer the following questions, and these are only a few of many. What did the FBI really know about the Steele dossier, and when did they know it? This is critical. What was the FBI's relationship with a foreign national by the name of Christopher Steele who used Russian sources? Was the FISA warrant against Carter Page politically motivated? And did political bias influence the FBI or DOJ during the Russia investigation? Now, my message tonight to the FBI and DOJ is turn over the 1.2 million documents that Congress has now subpoenaed, and it's time to appoint the special counsel, because you cannot ever investigate yourself. And this brings us to our next breaking story. Congressional investigators from the Freedom Caucus, the only guys doing any work in Washington, they have now unearthed tonight even more texts between anti-Trump lovers Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Remember, there are over 50,000 Strzok-Page texts. This is but a small sampling of what they believe could reveal damning new evidence that the FBI, the Obama White House, and the CIA, and the deep state, and the intel community were all working together in order to open up a politically motivated Trump-Russia collusion investigation. Now, let's explain why congressional investigators, think this is important. Now, according to one text message from Strzok to Lisa Page, August 2nd, 2016, Strzok makes a reference to the first interagency meeting discussing coordination between the FBI and the DOJ on the DNC hacking case. This is what Strzok writes, quote, thanks so much for having the discipline to wait another 24 hours to have the first meeting about the case with the DOJ. Now, these congressional investigators that we spoke to tonight, they believe this is evidence that the FBI and DOJ met to discuss the Russia election hacking investigation. And then get this, August 25th, 2016, there's Harry Reid. He's briefed by then CIA director, the guy that voted for the communists in the 70s. How did he ever become the CIA director? Anyway, with John Brennan about Russia's attempts to influence the election. And then 2 days after that meeting, Harry Reid sends a letter to then FBI Director James Comey, urging him to open an investigation into Donald Trump. He wrote at the time, the evidence of a direct connection between the Russian government on Donald Trump's presidential campaign continues to mount. After the letter became public, Strzok then texts Lisa Page a link to a New York Times article referencing the letter, writing, quote, here we go. Oh, maybe that's sort of like their insurance policy. Now, next, the FBI ultimately used that letter as legitimate cover for their investigation into Russia collusion and as a part of their FISA warrant application against Carter Page, a Trump campaign associate. That gets them all the emails. That gets them right into the heart of the Trump campaign. In other words, this was a coordinated effort to spy on, bring down, and tarnish the Trump campaign. Sarah Carter and House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes will be here tonight, and they will explain all of this to you. And while we continue to bring you information on the deep state forces that are working to take down the president, that work to make sure that President Trump never got elected, well, the FBI is stonewalling the American people and Congress when it comes to these requests for documents related to three important topics, including the department's investigation into Clinton's email server, information about potential FISA abuses, and the justification behind why Andrew McCabe was fired from the FBI. Now, the release of documents has been extraordinarily slow. As a matter of fact, it almost sounds like obstruction to me. It's so slow that the House Judiciary Committee Chairman, Bob Goodlatte, well, he was now forced to issue a subpoena. And the Washington Examiner's Byron York is reporting the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, is absolutely livid and apoplectic with the FBI Director, Christopher Wray, and his slow compliance with these important requests. Give us these documents. Now, in response, as we reported last night, Director Wray has now promised to double the amount of staff working on releasing the documents, and he's going to double up their shifts. But is this too little, too late? Should a contempt of court order be issued if the FBI does not comply with Goodlatte's subpoena? All right, that's an important question. Now we turn our attention to another top story we're following. The media erupted into a frenzy today, absolutely goes nuts over a story in the New York Times speculating that, quote, Trump's lawyer raised the prospect of pardons for General Flynn and Paul Manafort. One little itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny little problem with the story. It's fake news. And we know because one of Trump's lawyers, Ty Cobb, put out a statement. It reads, I have only been asked about pardons by the press and have routinely responded on the record. No pardons are under discussion or under consideration at the White House. Oh, fake news. Ty Cobb couldn't have been more clear. But that does not stop the corrupt mainstream media from obsessing over the story during today's White House briefing. We have the evidence. Take a look.
Are pardons on the table for anyone involved in the Russia probe?
Look, I would refer you back to the statement from Ty Cobb in the report that you're asking about.
Can you say unequivocally that no one here has discussed pardons in this case?
I can say that Ty Cobb is the person that would be most directly involved in this.
I'm wondering if the president believes he has the right to use the power of his office, the power to pardon, to protect them from what he might see as unfair punishment down the road. Does he believe he has that right?
Look, I would refer you back to Ty Cobb's statement.
Has he considered, is he considering, would he consider pardoning Paul Manafort, Michael Flynn, or Rick Gates?
As I said, an on-record statement from the president's attorney here at the White House on these matters has said there's no discussion or consideration of this.
Did the president direct John Dowd to talk to the attorneys of Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn about potential pardons?
I'm not aware of any conversations of that nature at all.
So while everyone in the press corps today appeared to be on the same page over this, of course, bogus New York Times fake news story, one of the fake news reporters didn't quite get the memo. And, of course, he works for fake news, CNN, Jim Acosta. He was preoccupied still with Stormy. Take a look.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great rest of the week.
Going to speak on Stormy Daniels. Why has he not spoken on Stormy Daniels, Sarah?
No, of course, it's not surprising coming from fake news CNN, led by the very soon-to-be scandal-plagued king of porn, Jeff Zucker. And by the way, yeah, we know. And today we also learned that creepy Anderson Cooper, you know, the Jerry Springer wannabe, he's now going to be hosting a town hall next month with Jim Comey. That's right, Jim Comey's big audition to become the next paid liberal talking head at fake news or MSNBC conspiracy theory news. Well, he's sitting down for a town hall with CNN's version of Springer. Hey, James Comey, I've already told you, you can divulge your deepest, darkest secrets to me, I guess, creepy Anderson Cooper. It's your choice. Now, these are some of the questions, by the way, Cooper's was asking In other words, Jerry Springer Jr. asking Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. Well, check out the creep factor.
So the sex was consensual. Did he actually try to hand you money? Did he bring up his wife? Would he talk about his child, his son? Were you in love with him? Did he ever compare you to any of his kids? Did he ever use protection? You told Donald Trump to turn around and take off his pants.
Yes.
And did he?
Yes.
And you had sex with him?
Yes.
You were 27, he was 60. Were you physically attracted to him?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Did you want to have sex with him? In an industry where condom use is an issue, did he use a condom?
No.
Did you ask him to?
No.
After you had sex, what happened? Physically, you've seen him in ways that other people haven't.
Correct. And if need be, I could describe that.
His private parts.
And all we have to say, Jim Comey, good luck. And by the way, giving the upcoming investigation by the DOJ's Inspector General that we learned about today on potential FISA abuses, you may, Jim, want to